Do you know what time it is?
It's clobbering time!
I think every time we do that, we get more viewers.
You think every time we do that, we get more viewers?
Yes.
I hope you are right. Good morning, everyone. J Hood Creative here. Look already. I'm here with my pal, Coach Vic 7. Oh, wait. Coach, you shrank.
No!
You're not Coach Vic 7?
Uh-uh.
Oh, okay.
I'm your daughter.
Oh, my mistake. How could I make that mistake? Coach Vic's feeling under the weather this morning, but we do have our other usual compadre, Al Schell. Good morning, Al.
Good morning, Jamie. I hope Coach is feeling better one of these days. What'd you do to him?
Yeah, I was putting him through his paces, getting ready for the show, and he just gave out. I was too hard on him. Hey, look at that! We've got a big crowd this morning.
Yeah, they were here early.
Captain Comics was here a half hour early. Man, thanks, Captain. We have four live viewers. Bailey loves when we have live viewers, so pass it on. I love it too. We also had Bear Island Comics, and he had this excellent note to mention. Come see J Hood in tonight's premiere of The Last Con at 9 p.m. on Bear Island's channel. I played a part. He says it's a major part. I don't know how major. I think it's a minor part. Thanks for the overstatement. I appreciate it. We had Unruly Simeon. Hey, let's put. There's Captain Comics back at 9:30 this morning.
Did you tell people that we were starting early or something?
No. Last time I said we're going to do it at 10 at night, and then did
Was there a time change?
That's probably why we didn't have any viewers. Coach Vic 7 is hanging out in the chat. My man Gore Vidal. We have some similar taste in comic books. We need to do some contents together sometime, Gore. Let's see who else we have. Coach Vic. All right. So those are the current members of our live chat. Before we get rolling too far into this, man, as always, technical difficulties before the show. Don't have the prime set up, but we'll make it happen. What's up?
We have more viewers than the last time.
We have more viewers now than the last time. You just keep an eye on that viewer count up there, okay? The little eyeball with the people.
Yeah.
All right. Here's the thing. Before we get going, I've got my wall book riddle contest still going, and I'm going to show the people what you get as a prize for solving. Actually, I never said you had to solve the riddle. So you just have to make an attempt to solve the riddle and either make a video or an IG post. So the winner is going to get a box full of comic books. And I've been going through and pulling out stuff that is quality material that I just don't need in my collection anymore. It's stuff that I read. I don't think I'll go back to it. So passing it on. So we've got from Joe Hill, the Hill House Comics at DC. We've got The Plunge, the full run, all 6 issues.
Daddy, more viewers.
More viewers.
More viewers.
Hey, viewers.
And we've got the entire run, and I'll bag these before they go out. The entire run of Empire, Marvel's
trying to give junk away.
Earth-shattering event. One man's trash is another man's treasure, my man.
6 viewers.
You'll see a common theme in this prize pack.
Daddy, 6
You
viewers.
get the shiny Age of Ultron.
I love that.
You love that? Bailey loves it. I'm gonna have to buy it again someday because she needs it.
Or I could just borrow it.
Getting the Justice League Dark trade paperback, #1.
Daddy, look at the viewers.
More viewers.
Look at 60.
Thank you, more viewers. Thank you for coming.
I think it worked.
You get the first 3 issues of Blade Runner 2019. That's a really cool art germ cover. I hope Bailey's okay.
You think this is what they show people during Clockwork Orange, where they have the This is what they show.
We just lost one, Daddy.
We just lost someone. I should stop showing books because we lost a viewer.
No, that's dancing.
You get the original Sin, the entire run, 6 or 7 issues.
I think we're just gonna get left.
You get the first issue of Grendel, Kentucky. Out of the mouths of babes, right?
Yeah, honesty. Yeah.
Get the Raphael Grandpa, Dark Knight Returns, Golden Child, one shot.
Grandpa.
You get
Give us
Isn't
some.
that name Grandpa?
first 4 issues of Savage Avengers. Discovery Bag. Good to see you this morning, my friend. Just running through the price pack that we're stacking up. We're stacking up a big
Staff.
medium rate or medium flat rate box. I can read.
Daddy,
You're gonna
get
get
6 viewers again.
The Pride of Baghdad by Brian K. Vaughan. A lot of people loved it. I read it.
Welcome to QVC.
Mary, got 5 now.
I'm glad I have you on. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, okay.
I need your flavor in this show. And you get
Move it along, pal. Nothing to see here. Nothing to
Secret
see.
Empire, the entire run of Secret Empire.
Is that the one where it comes out as Hydra?
And you'll get something good too. Something that Al would approve of. Something that Al would get Al's endorsement for a vote. What's up, Bailey? Okay, listen. Thank you for updating us on how many people we have in the live chat.
Making us feel horrible.
Thinking about the position I'm in. Trying to entertain and educate the people.
You're in a seated position.
Trying to be a nice daddy. Trying to play along. Trying to be a good friend. Trying to give room to my friend to come in and share his comments on my nonsense.
There's a song about this.
Snapping.
You're just unsnapping. Okay.
Trying to be a friend. Trying to be a buddy. What were you gonna add? What else were you gonna add?
What else was I going to add? I don't know. I'm going to add. I think I'm going to add a Silver Age Jack Kirby key, and probably a sketch of art, an art sketch.
So don't expect to get it anytime soon.
Hey, listen.
10 years later.
Remember?
Oh, he's off the page.
Remember way back when we went on Hero and the Kids channel, and we did some live drawing on that.
Yeah, that was horrible.
And I put off finishing the drawing. Like, I gotta be honest. I started drawing Venom and Spider-Man. I'm not the hugest Venom and Spider-Man fan, but I'm a professional. Got to power through. And so I still haven't finished it, but I have made progress. So here on the kid, there's the work in progress.
Oh yeah, I see that extra line you put in there. That was great.
Yeah,
that extra little line.
So this
what are they doing? Is that even kid appropriate?
So this is my next priority. To get that.
I like when you show stuff that doesn't show up on TV on the camera. Just look, see this is what I drew, and it's just like you can't see it. It's so light.
There, you can see it now.
You're afraid to darken anything in because you want to erase it so bad. That's what it is. Oh, don't darken it in. I might need to change it 80 times.
Oh, I have. 75 times. I got 5 more times to change it.
Yeah.
Highlight Comic Bro, thanks for stopping in and joining us this morning, man. So what's up with you, Al? What have you been up to?
Huh?
Huh?
Oh, it's me, my time. Oh, hey, I'll tell you what I've been doing. I've been disliking your last Saturday show. If you notice, if you go back to your last show, he had maybe one dislike. I haven't checked lately. And I was, because I woke up last Saturday, and I noticed that you had a show on, and it didn't have me. So I disliked it because I'm bitter.
You
I'm
you are
bitter.
my first dislike, and
No, you probably had more.
nope. I told my wife, I said, you don't understand. Having a dislike is like a rite of passage. And then I found out it's you, and I'm like, I can't. That's not satisfying. That's like a McDonald's hamburger.
You
Right?
hear that, people? Everybody give him a dislike.
If you like this show, give it a like, please. Like, follow, subscribe, all that jazz. I never say that.
I'm gonna stab you in the back. No, I wake up to a horse head in my bed because these guys are off having, I'm up sad, I'm sprouting, do, and then look at that. People I thought were friends, people I thought were buddies, performing shows without me.
I only did it because I knew you'd be like razzing me the whole time about buying stuff on eBay, telling me stuff's, oh, that's too expensive. Why are you spending that? Or why are you going?
So you admit you cut me out. You admit that you cut me out.
I knew that you would get no enjoyment out of participating.
Mm. Well, look, what you got Vic sick off of that video.
We have 7 viewers.
Vic is not on this show because you made him sick.
Mm-hmm.
It's your fault. And I hope Vic gets better. And
yeah, he does have something somewhat serious going on, but he's going to get that taken care of, and he'll be on the mend soon.
I like that. I joke, and then you just like, Al, you shouldn't joke about this. Is some serious stuff, and then I feel bad. So Vic, I apologize for making light of your ailment. I do hope you have a speedy recovery, though.
And really, eBay is a necessary evil for comics, especially in this climate where you can't get out and go to a show. You're kind of landlocked to your LCS, and you've seen everything they've got a million times. That's very true. So,
well, I go to Walmart and get all the toys I want.
Well, Walmart has special covers and things like that, exclusive covers, I meant to say.
I don't
comic books.
Comic books are lame.
Daddy, we're getting more than we ever got.
We're getting more than we ever got before.
Because they want to hear my hot
doing the
topic.
tally roll on the viewer count in the chat. So, okay, we're going to talk now.
Oh.
I'm in the worst position.
It's just so bad at like bumping your kid off. Like, hey, I'm talking.
That's exactly what I don't want to sound like.
Yeah.
So, what's our topic for this morning, Al?
Oh yeah, it is forgotten creations from forgotten creators or
Publishers.
I tell you how I learn what we're doing. I find I get added into a thumbnail on Instagram, and they're like, "Oh, that's what we're doing this day." Okay, and then I have to scramble. I didn't scramble this time. I was too worried because I don't have my normal camera and my normal setup because I'm in the middle of redecorating the house. So. Vic, you stop that. It's more like you got a gremlin. That's what your daughter's like, is a gremlin, just gonna make stuff.
Hey, Titus, konnichiwa. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
He wants Coach Vic. He doesn't want me here.
But that wasn't the only topic that I'd kind of thrown out this week. So, and
what's the one that's on the marquee, baby? It's on the marquee. So let's get to that.
So, okay. we're going to save the other topic that we almost did for another time.
Yeah.
8 people watching.
Oh.
I need to put a ticker up behind me to show how many people are in the chat. So,
And then the ones that they leave.
I'm gonna create a machine that will eliminate my daughter's job this morning.
And we'll have the shame meter of how many people we don't have.
The beginning worked. She thinks that the opening roll, the beginning animation we did, has attracted more viewers, and I think she's right. Hey, thanks for joining us, everyone. So yeah, so we're gonna talk about what I called extinct publishers, and by that I mean publishers that have come and gone. And why am I going to talk about all these old dinosaurs? Because when you go to shows, if you're flipping through long boxes and things like that, you see comics with these logos on them. And are they worth the price of admission? They're usually in dollar bins. I'm going to admit.
Daddy.
I picked up some. Okay, I'm talking. I picked up some this week, and they were like $2 a piece. Were they worth buying? For sure, and I'll show you why. So, what am I gonna do?
Hey, Daddy. Shut up! What? No.
So,
Remember you're on video.
Exactly. This is gonna live forever on the internet.
Look at that. Captain's Victory by a good old J.K. Jack Kirby.
Jack Kirby. So this was published by Pacific Comics. Has anyone ever heard of Pacific Comics? Raise your hand if you have. I've heard of them because I've bought Captain Victory before. But they weren't that wasn't the only title that they did. They also did works by Mike Grell. It's called Star Slayer. They didn't have #1, so I just picked up a couple of the best covers they had. This one I'd never heard of before, called Vanity.
Vanity. Isn't that a Bee Gees song? Vanity.
It should be if it's not.
Let's look that up. Let's totally derail the show just to look up a Bee Gees song.
Well, let's get some comments rolling here. So Unruly's got a few Pacific Comics graded. Cool. Discovery owns a Captain Victory.
I looked up Captain Victory. I was gonna draw like a whole the villain in there. She's like the Hella type. She has a big like. Reuse those characters for the Kirby world or Kirby verse or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Who put that? Dynamite put that out. It was Alex Ross and Kirk Busick. I think that's how you pronounce his name. And then who else did the pencils, and then now Alex Ross would come in and do some paint job numbers on it. Right. I dug it. I don't think, did you like that? Probably not.
I didn't like the art because it was just regular boring old art inside. And if you're gonna do Kirby and if Alex Ross is involved, I expect my expectations are a little higher. So this Vanity, the character reminds me of the character in DN Agents, or the look of the character, but it's got story and art by a guy named Will Magino. I don't know. It's a weird spelling. I'm not gonna bore you with that, like I am with the rest of this stuff. But
hey,
there's a look at the interior art. It's not bad. It's all right.
That does look like DN Agents. Watch Jamie as he flips through a comic book. Is that Tarzan? What is that? That's very.
Oh, there's like it looks like there's a time travel element to it. No, it's a totally different story.
Oh, so it's like a Detective Comics or Action Comics book.
Well, it's advertised as it's an all new excitement from the Stone Age.
What's the character's name?
The Space Age.
Vanity is the lady's name.
I would
character's name.
I would guess because she's got little V's on her heart.
What do you think happened to that character?
I don't know.
Is that the only issue she appeared in?
This was the only one I remember seeing at the shop I went to. Let's see, Gore Vidal. He's going to have some knowledge for us. Captain Victory and Star Slayer are two of the earliest comics I read. I had to order them as a kid because the town I lived in didn't have a comic shop. So how would you have heard about them? Because I ran into these like years into my childhood at a used bookstore. What's up, Harper? Nothing? You're just hanging out? Okay. And then
Miss Mystic. Man, PC Comic, Pacific Comics had a lot of what year was these? Was it like 83 or something?
Let's check it out. The back of it has a Silver Star ad. This is Kirby's other book. Have to get my spectacles. 82. So yeah, I tried to limit this to books before the 90s. And so these publishers would have kind of come into prominence during the 80s, and some of them lasted well into the 90s.
Not that one though.
But so the thing about Pacific Comics was everything was creator owned. It was as far as I know, they were the first publisher to give the creators all rights, all rights to the IP. So when Pacific Comics folded, Neil Adams was able to go on later and create his own company, Continuity Comics, and bring the characters back there.
Continuity. Yeah, there was a dozen. There was Elric. I remember Elric. Mm-hmm. There was a dozen of indie publishers in the 80s. It was. But see, the thing is that they were all pretty much quality books where, like, once you got into the later 90s, like, people, hey, I drew this pencil. I do a pencil guy and stick figure guys.
With the continuity books, often Neil Adams was doing the covers, and then he had a slew of artists that he was training to image style, kind of draw like him. So, actually, Mark Teixeira either drew or inked it, because both he and Neil Adams signed it. But I know Mark Teixeira has early artwork on the interior of this book. So Gore Vidal sharing his origin story. I would buy comic magazines like Comic Scene at convenience stores where all the independents were discussed. That was shortly thereafter I discovered Bud Plant and Mile High Comics.
Comic Scene is, oh god.
Comic
Scene is how I found. Comic Scene is how I found Faust, which is a bad thing.
I encountered Faust in my travels.
But Comic Scene, I did Comic Scene. That was the ones I would, and then I would always look at the back to see what movies were supposed to be getting made.
Right.
Never got made.
Yep.
Never moved. Plastic Man. All these different movies that are supposed to have been made, but never.
They would talk about like the X-Men movie that was coming and never did until like the 90s. Good to see you this morning, Coach. The boy at 7. Sorry, I've been reading comments of other people. Good to see you, Matt. Going back to Gore's comment, there was a long time in my collecting career where we didn't have any retailers like that I would go to. We might have had an LCS at that point, but I wasn't going there every week, so I had to buy my comics through Mile High as well. Okay, short aside. Here's the worst trouble I ever got into as a kid, as a young teenager, I guess. So at a project in school, we had this English teacher, Mrs. Heater, was teaching college prep English, and one of the assignments was we did 6 weeks on studying Romeo and Juliet, right? So for Romeo and Juliet, you had to write a paper, you had to build a project like Shakespeare's old theater out of toothpicks or whatever, and then you had to memorize 30 lines of Romeo and Juliet get up front in front of class in costume and recite your 30 lines. Okay. So in Romeo and Juliet, there's one passage of 30 lines of male dialogue. We had the choice that we could team up with other members and do like a whole scene. Am I boring? I'm putting you to sleep.
Explain it more.
So I start memorizing the 30 lines, the long passage. Okay. I get about a third of the way through it. But every day in class, the guy next to me, Mike Macon, is a big football player, dude. He's like, come on, man, let's do a scene. Let's do the sword fight scene. Come on, man, let's do the scene every day. And I was already memorizing my stuff. And then a week before the assignment was due, I finally gave in and said, okay, I'll do the scene with you. So I had to forget the 15 lines I had memorized and start memorizing a whole 30-line passage. Get up in front of class. It's a big crap show. I had kids like, throwing me lines from the front row. I got a C- on the project. I passed. I couldn't believe I got a passing grade. But my mom was pissed. And the punishment was no comic books for a month. This is the worst punishment I ever had as a kid. So when that Mile High shipment came in on like the first week of my punishment, I had a box of comic books sitting there on my desk for the next 3 weeks before I could actually crack it open and dive into my new stuff. The end.
What? What happened? So anyway, to get to this point that I got some Mile High comics, I'm going to tell you about my childhood. When I was 12, no. Yeah, I get you.
People come here for the insight, man.
I know. They hate me because Warren magazine. That was I'm trying to think of the first like indie, like non-DC Marvel comic I ever bought. Well, it'd probably be Dark Horse, maybe. Oh, I don't know.
Mine.
I mean, without I didn't have a comic book shop for the longest time. I didn't know until I found All Star Comics, and still I was buying mainstream comics then. I was pretty much it was a horrible. So, Coach Vic says, best story ever. Best story ever. Coach Vic, you're sycophant. He loves you, Jamie.
Hialeah feels sorry for me. And so is Gore. They get it. So the first
the fact that you got to order all these comic books from Mile High.
Oh,
boo-hoo, Jamie. Boo-hoo. The only time I really got comic books is if I walked down to the local drugstore and paid whatever money I found that day to pick up, nothing. I didn't have special orders coming through the mail for me.
I was privileged, I admit. No, I
didn't
get an allowance. I didn't get any allowance. I sank all my allowance money into that order. And my order would be like $20 a month or something like that. You got a discount that kind of covered the price of the shipping. But so there wasn't really that much. Wasn't that much of a savings once you.
You're a rebel. You're a rebel, Pee-wee.
I'm a loner, Dottie. A rebel. So the first indie that I've ever encountered that I liked that wasn't indie was the Badger. Yeah. So this is by Capital Comics. And this was back in the day when Wolverine was a big thing. So Wolverine, Badger. Badger was kind of a knockoff of Wolverine. He didn't have the claws, but he had the karate, the karate or judo or whatever kind of fighting style.
Kid.
And then he'd have a berserker rage a lot like Wolverine did, where if you kind of hit him on the head the wrong way, he'd go nuts and just start wailing on people. But who drew this? It was this is credited to Steve Rude, but I don't think he didn't do the interiors.
I tell you, what?
It was written by Mike Barron, and the artist was Jeffrey Butler. And the art wasn't bad. So I'll make myself big again.
Big.
I probably liked it because you got a little bit of blood flowing. I mean, you didn't get red blood anyway in Marvel Comics.
Hey yo. You got a figure it? No.
There we go.
Hey.
Let's see. There's some other comments came in that I wanted to hit up. Let's see here. Did that turn me off from Shakespeare? I didn't like Shakespeare to begin with. I was a freshman in high school. Did it turn me off? No, but I was never turned on by it.
Wait a minute. You're a freshman in high school and your mom's keeping you from your comic bookies? Oh my goodness. You're a freshman in high school. You used to look at your mom and go, hey man, get off my back. Huh?
Yeah, right.
Cigarette.
Yeah.
Come on.
It didn't turn me off, but it literally gave me nightmares that summer. I would have nightmares about freaking Mrs. Heater and English class.
Ooh, what type of dreams are those? Oh, Mrs. Heater.
Nexus was the first Capital Comics I read. Oh, wrong one.
Whisper. Yeah, Nexus.
So I picked up issue 2 at that same book used bookstore, issue 2 of Nexus, and I just read it recently, and then went and bought a whole run of like the first 10 comics on eBay. I would get nothing taken away. I would get the belt. I got the belt, but it wasn't. I was like a grown ass boy at that time.
I tell you, Badger, Nexus, and I think E-Man, and another Madman. Remember the action figures line, or the action heroes, or whatever they did? They were basically the Secret Wars bodies, but then it was like a Kickstarter. I guess it got kickstarted, and I just was sleeping on it because they come out with Nexus again.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're just like the old Secret Wars figures, and they're out there. I just haven't. And also, Steve Mike Barron just released the newspaper the comic strips that they did in the hardback and in trade paper.
I didn't realize
I don't know what to do with my life.
Morning, Seawood. And we've also got 36 Chambers join us. Good to see you, Henry. Unruly says Badger was fun. He moved to first, I think. Yep. First comics. E-Man, just like Al said. I guess it's E for energy because he's got equals MC squared on there. Let's see. Discovery Bay. Can I call my comic book collection a home library? Yes. If it is available to all. Or I guess otherwise it's just a private library. It's up to you. You want to be like Frankenstein? We do. We've got 10 viewers. Ford says E-Man was wonderfully outrageous. I think it outraged Marvel when it satirized the X-Men. Nexus was the first 12 issues. Nexus, like the first 12 issues of Micronauts, is great science fiction.
Now, Nexus has dreams of who he's an assassin, right?
Yeah.
He has to kill who he has a dream of, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's a good guy way, not the bad. I had a dream about you, Jamie. I'm going to murder you now. I had Shakespeare dreams.
I'll be honest. I think I might remember seeing E-Man, but I never picked it up. I just picked this one up literally like 2 days ago. Okay. You're scaring people away.
Oh, no. Daddy tells me I scare people away.
This actually looks pretty good, like pretty good stuff. I'm surprised to see newsprint because usually these indies were on Baxter paper at the time.
Baxter. What happened to Coach Vic? Where's he at?
I'm sure he's out there. So,
No one's mentioning St. Louis, so I was just worried.
there's some of the other titles. Warp was done my first. We've got a John Byrne image right there. I can't remember what title that was. And then first became famous for becoming the continuing publisher of Badger and Nexus both. Then they also had other books like this one by Mike Grell, John Sable, Freelance. This one on Free Long Run.
Mike Grell did a lot of indie or like self-published things.
Yep.
Then he do never mind. Can't. Oh, my head.
Paul Gulacy, I think, also had a title there. And then, of course, American Flag. I've never read American Flag that I can remember. Let's pick this one up the other day. It was the first issue.
Was it the Futurians by Dave Cockrum?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have those? Do you have any of those?
I don't, but I remember like seeing the trade paper, not trade paperback, but the graphic novel. I was just looking to see if we got any other ads in here. Interesting. We got an ad for Glenwood Distributors.
Very interesting.
The Chicago Comic-Con. The first show I ever went to was the Chicago Comic-Con in 1989. Let's see who was the guest list. We had Brett Anderson, Terry Beatty, Howard Chaykin, Mike Grell, Fred Henbeck, Bruce Patterson, Steve Rude, Roger Slifer, Mike Barron, John Byrne, Max Collins, Mike Gustovich, Dean Delaney, Joe Rubenstein, Mark Silvestri. Wow, back in 1983, and Joe Staten. I think in '83, Mark Silvestri would have been drawing Strike Force Moratory. I think I tried to find a copy of that and couldn't. Oh, I was frozen there for a minute. The winning lineup. Also, Grell brought Star Slayer back over to the first too. I didn't realize that. John's Comics with Kids. Good to see you this morning, man.
I feel bad because that was, in the 80s, I was all DC Marvel. I was just,
Well, I mean, you read what you have access to.
My way.
It's interesting to read John Sable Freelance, which began in '83, then in '87 he went on to do Green Arrow. Both titles are a record history of the '80s and early '90s.
Those are a heck of titers. Those are some good titers. DNA Agents.
DNA Agents, Eclipse. I was surprised. I think this is the only Eclipse book I still have in my collection. And I remember,
part of, like Marvel.
No, that was Epic.
Okay.
I was just looking to see. So they had this title called Saber. I think it was drawn by Paul Gulacy. No, I'm wrong. It's credited to somebody totally different. Paul Gulacy was working on something back at this time, and I can't remember what it was. But I like this DNA Agents because it reminded me of Teen Titans, of course, which I was big into at the time.
Oh, those suits, didn't it? Wait a minute, is that Vanity?
It does. I told you it looks a lot like her.
Oh.
Her name was Rainbow.
Rainbow. Man, those suits don't hold up, man. Do not hold up.
And I think one of the things that appealed to me, they were a little bit more racy.
Uh-oh. Like, they're squished together, right? And those guys are all like, no personal space.
But this title was created by Mark Evanier, who's kind of more. He's known more now as a Jack Kirby kind of historian because he was one of Jack Kirby's assistants. Lacey does not get enough love.
Well,
I like his earlier stuff. I think it's more quality. A lot of his newer stuff, I think he's mailing it in. Either that or, I mean, the thing with artists is they get to a point where they get a formula down to what they're doing, and it becomes almost too formulaic. You see it in John Byrne's Next Men, where you just kind of get too used to seeing it all the time. I think we're at that place with guys like Jim Lee now. You disagree on Paul Gulacy? You like him?
Oh, no, I'm just saying you're getting a formula, and I'm like, yeah, just like you. You take too long to do a picture.
So those were the independent publishers that I pulled out to talk about, but Marvel and DC both had other publishing initiatives too that have kind of come and gone. And I forgot to grab my Alf annual that was published by Star Comics, which is an offshoot of Marvel. It was Alf, the old puppet show, but it was drawn by Bill Sienkiewicz, so it was totally cover by for me. But the new universe, what do you remember about the new universe, Al?
That I avoided it like the plague.
But why? No, the whole thing was, we're going to do a whole separate universe from our usual Marvel characters, and you will love these characters and support it and buy it.
And then later we'll bring them into the universe and just.
And it's funny because they did a whole line. I think they did like 4 or 6 titles. I'm looking through this for an ad for all the other ones for cross-sell, and it's not in here. So the main title was called Starbrand, and I think that is the only remnant that's kind of survived. Hickman brought it back, the Starbrand back in his Avengers run.
Starbrand. Now, this is the Gulacy show. Oh, Gulacy.
And the Six from Sirius stuff is some stuff I'm gonna kind of go back and buy. I was looking at that just the other day. Then of course Marvel's known for Epic.
Yeah.
And Alien Legion was once one of the many titles that they published.
Is it Larry Strom or Stroman or?
He might have done later. This is I think the cover was done by Frank Sirocco.
What is it? Oh, yeah. I got big into that like in the 90s. Like I got a bunch of quarter bins of that and was like, oh, this is cool. And then I stopped.
Quarter bins. I remember quarter bins. Those are so nice. We call them dollar bins now.
And you don't change the name simply because the price is raised.
I've never read this. This is another one I just picked up this week that I had seen, in my travels over the years, and just never felt compelled to pick it up, but it looks pretty cool.
Yes.
I do also want to get Strike Force Morituri, which the whole premise of that is that they give people superpowers, and in a year they're going to die. So a couple of the other, Steve Englehart created Coyote, and then of course,
Coach Vic, Dreadstar. That's what I was trying to think of by Jim Starlin.
And I've never read Dreadstar, and I'm a big Starlin fan, so I'm gonna kind of have to right that ship. I need to go back and buy some of those.
They're all over the place.
And of course, Epic Illustrated was the magazine.
I think Elfquest was probably the first Okay, J Hood searches eBay like an old man reading the obituary. He does everything like that. I've seen him looking through bins of comics.
Hey, going through bins of comic books is great therapy. I love it. Even
My life is meaningless without my quarter bin comics. I must search the world for comics.
I'm coming to the realization that I don't spend very often a whole lot of money on any single comic. I've been doing it more lately, but historically, I've always been like a dollar guy, getting stuff on the cheap. Varangian Vigilante is showing up like a ghost. Come on.
Soundwave rules. That's wait. Yeah, Soundwave.
So even Epic did a spin-off line called the Shadow Line. And even back then they were doing things like gimmicks like connecting covers. I think they're supposed to connect. And then there was another one too that I didn't get. But of course, great covers by Bill Sienkiewicz.
Mm-hmm.
See, that is the best kind of vacation to have.
Much like Jamie on his Shakespeare line recital, I was not prepared.
See, Wood, if you come up north, I've got the day off on Friday. If you want to come around our neighborhood. See, Pacific Comics and Eclipse published a great miniseries of Somerset Holmes. The first issue is similar premise to the first Bourne film. It's a little known classic. I'll keep an eye out for that. And then DC did things like, this was way before Vertigo. They did Piranha Press, where they did more adult, offbeat, more independent looking stuff. They did a series called Beautiful Stories for Ugly Children that was kind of weird but somewhat cool. But this Gregory kid is a little kid in an insane asylum, straight jacket, done by Mark Campbell.
This is nasty. Oh boy!
I need to go back and read this. Oh, the Goon. Very nice.
Very nice. You got Slider, and I didn't do that. Gregory.
Now, this title, okay, everybody's going to laugh at the title. And this doesn't even qualify for the comics we're talking about, but it's a book you see in dollar bins, and you look at the name of it, and you're like, what the heck is that? And so everybody passes over it. So you see it all the time. And it's not indie, it's DC under no other banner than DC. And it's Thriller. And
what?
It was written by Robert Lauren Fleming, who this is the only work I know from him, and it was drawn by
Trevor Vaughn. Yeah, he did the. That's funny because that really wasn't a part of DC, but I remember them in the Who's Who. They had a Who's Who entry for the Thriller. I'm missing Coach Vic right now because I know he would have brought up the song. He would have probably was Michael Jackson in that. Oh.
So the art's really cool, and the whole thing is Thriller is this kind of disembodied. She's a disembodied woman, like she's a spirit essentially, and she's got 7 seconds to save the world, and they put a play on the word seconds by meaning like associates. She's got 7 people to save the world.
Oh yeah, like people that accompany you.
Yep. So one of the seconds is her brother, so she can kind of come and inhabitate his body temporarily if she needs to.
I got Coach Bingo. This is the thriller.
and her brother is kind of this hard ass publisher looking dude, but his thing is he can shoot a fly, like he can hit a fly with a bullet,
What did the fly do to him?
but he won't kill anybody. I
Fly
wouldn't
abuse.
kill anyone. So
Well, then let's stay home.
he's got crazy things like his sister showing up on his hand, things like that. But the cool thing is just the crew, this crew of seconds that is that she's assembled. They're all kind of unusual archetypes. But if you find the first 4 issues, pick them up. It's really good reading. Got this bad guy named Scabbard. He stores his sword in the skin on his back.
Cool.
So the first 4 issues is a nice tight storyline. The issues 5 and 6 were also drawn by Trevor Von Eden, and then the rest of the run, there's only 12 issues.
Trevor Von Eden seemed like the original. I drew the first 5 issues, but then I couldn't, so they had to bring in someone else. Is that how he was? Is that just how I perceive it? That's why he was never on a main title.
I don't know. I don't know why Trevor Von Eden never did more work. I don't know why he's not working now, because it was always good stuff. I know he did some Batman back in the day.
Remember Tom Grummett?
Yeah.
For Superman. He was on Superman, Superboy, Robin. And I didn't think he was so. I met him in Motor City one year, and he was like, seemed like he was 80. He was so like, I was like, wow, if that's what comics does to you. He was only 43 at the time, too.
Varangian Vigilante. I got another German epic magazine from Marvel today. The German version had boob covers. Nice. And really says
Piranha did seriously different stuff. They published a couple of graphic novels that were all woodcuts. Wow.
interesting.
I wonder how much those are. C. Woodard says, oh, wait. Coach Vic, Vincent Price, who does the talking part in Thriller, is from St. Louis. Hey, I got bingo. Coach Vic bingo in the house. He mentioned, okay, Tom Grummett, one of all-time favorites. That's right. When I met him, he seemed real old, but that's what happens. I always figured, he was probably he's in his 40s in the 90s, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so now he'd be in his 60s. So, Vallejo cover.
Epic Magazine 15 has a Vallejo cover with a woman riding a horse through a creepy forest. I remember buying that issue at a convenience store when I was a kid. I've got a few epics. I've got a nice run of heavy metals that my uncle gave me. And then I've got a handful that I bought since then, like when I was in college.
Jergens? Wait a minute. Okay. He likes Jergens. He likes Dan Jergens. I'm sorry.
Well, you don't like Dan Jergens? What's wrong with that?
I don't mind Dan Jergens, but for him to be your number one, it's not gonna, for Dan Jergens.
I like Jerry
Dan
Orwell.
Jergens. Sorry.
I think Dan Jurgens is another one of those artists that suffers from we've seen too much from him. He had too long a run on Superman, so we just got used to him, kind of like Kurt Swan.
I mean, it went from John Byrne to Jerry Ordway, and then you get Dan Jurgens in there. Come on, Dan Jurgens. He's like the Art Thurber of Superman artists. No offense. Anybody knows? How do you pronounce that guy?
T-Bear. Art T-Bear.
T-Bear? The
Yeah.
guy that took over X-Men after Jim Lee left it. Ooh, that was horrible. That guy was just like, I'm just drawing this paint by numbers thing here. It was so bad. I feel bad for dicing him like this, but man, it always angered me. Always angered me.
We're gonna lose another viewer, another faithful viewer. One of the only the 6 that are watching now. Varangian Vigilante. Gore is not on IG, but we need to convince him to get on because we need to be able to get in touch with that cat.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't. He said he was the first Superman artist I read, so when I think Superman, his Superman comes to mind. Sorry he started reading in the 90s. Well, apology accepted.
Wow. So, looks like we've lost Al. Hopefully I'm still alive. Somebody give me some indication that it's him and not me. In 3, 2, 1. So, I will try and carry on. So we'll see if he comes back. We'll remove him for now, so we don't have to sit there and watch his. And he's gone. So we'll see if he comes back. Will this get me dinged, VV? Let's see here. Riveting content. Okay, here we go. So there we go. Kind of hard to see. Kind of small, but yeah, boobs for sure. Let's see. I got a message from Al. What's up with him? Dan Jurgens attacked me and destroyed my computer. It happens to the best of us. Coach Vic took care of Al for me. All right, so we're almost at an hour, but I've got one last thing I'd like to touch on. Somewhat impromptu, but I thought about it right before the show started, and since Al has bailed, I'll go ahead and run it anyway. So I'm in a spot now where I feel like I want to send some stuff to get graded, and I have some decisions to make. And one of them kind of involves this. So Man Cave Comics sent this to me as an AOK. It's a book I've been hunting for pretty much all of this year. He AOK'd it to me, and I was like overjoyed. I'm overjoyed on the inside. This is me on the outside. But he sent a note saying if I wanted to, I could crack it and read the book. So I'm kind of at a crossroads. Do I take the dare and crack this open, or do I feed the monster and go for more graded books? Now, some of them that I'm considering are going to be PC books, and some of them are going to be flip books. So a few of them that I'm considering, and these two would be PC books. So one that I've got that I'm considering, Batman 251. I need to. It needs a press. It's got. You're not going to be able to see it through the Mylar, I don't think, but it's got this weird crease that kind of goes through here that I think would press out. I'm not positive, but the rest of the book is probably about a 7.0 Batman 251. So that's one I'm thinking about. Where it is. This is another one I'm thinking about for the PC. It's again probably another 7.0. Yeah, this one might even be better in better condition than the 251. The 251 might be down to a 6.5. I'm not sure. And then this is the other book I'm considering, and this would be for PC as well. The corners are slightly rounded on that one. a few non-color breaking spine ticks. Again, would need to get it pressed. And then these are the ones I'm considering to get graded just purely for spec value, for selling and then upgrading or getting in on some other big keys. So I've got the Invincible Iron Man 7 with a Riri cameo, followed up by that first full appearance of Riri in number 9. And both of these were bought off the shelf, bagged, and then recently boarded. I'm not sure either one will be a 9.8. They'll probably get 9.6s. I'm betting. Again, I'm not the world-class grader, but who knows what a 9.6 and a 9.8 is. Of course, everyone knows about this one from Categories. I'll probably get it pressed just for the sake of safety. I don't think it needs it, but just in case. I know, well, there are a lot of Saga fans out there, and I heard that they're supposed to start up again in 2021. So I think there's going to be even more interest built up for this. And if they ever make a show, it's going to go gangbusters. Seems like this book has been, or this title anyway, not necessarily this cover, but Century #1, first appearance of Century, has been kind of going up and down over the last couple of years, but it's not a book that I feel attached to. This one has one small spine tick, but so it's going to be a 9.6. And then I've got Eternals keys, well, the first 3 anyway. And this one's mid to high grade, probably 8.0 range. This one's going to be in the 9s somewhere with a press. And number 3, again, probably another 8 or 8.5, maybe 9. I don't know. Can't go wrong with the Saga one. Warlord, thanks for joining us. We're just wrapping up the show, but I'm showing a few books that I'm considering getting pressed and graded. And at this point, these are books that I will grade so I can flip them and get into some other big books. Got Star Wars Heir to the Empire #1, first comic appearance by Admiral Thrawn. Again, red and then bagged, and it's got a few little wrinkles. You won't be able to see it through the bag, but a couple wrinkles, but not color breaking. And I'm not sure if that will come out with a press. It might, so I'll give it a shot. And then this book, the price this book has been spiking at, I can't hardly afford to keep it anymore. This is, again, I don't know grading that well. It does have the McFarlane autograph. The corners are pretty good. There's a bindery tear down there. The top one's probably got a bindery tear, yep. And then the edges are all good, all clean. The book's relatively flat. It's got one serious ding right there that needs to be pressed out, and it does break color right at that spot. So again, it's going to be at a 9.4 probably, or 9.6 maybe. But at the price the book's going for, this is the kind of stuff I'd like to turn into an FF48 or Giant Size X-Men 1. And that's the only kind of books I would really look at if I were going to sell this. And hey, look who's back.
Gee whiz, I thought you would have been gone by now.
Well, I'm just wrapping up. I decided to talk about a few books I'm thinking about getting graded.
No. Sorry. Yeah, Dan Jurgens like just jumped me from behind. That was crazy, man. I was just like, anyway, Dan Jurgens was horrible. And like, it was horrible, man.
The ghost of Dan Jurgens came and took out your internet, huh?
Yeah. Oh, he died? He's alive.
He's alive. With the McFarlane SIG on the ASM 300, I'd probably send that to CBS and get there. Yeah, I agree. And I've been waiting for a nicer looking label from CBCS to make a jump to get something like that graded.
That Jurgens.
So,
Dan Jurgens can't even get rid of me. No, anyways. Yeah, I figured you'd be. Gee, what is it, Jim? Well, that's fun. How did it look when I got booted off? Just like bloop.
Your screen went black, and we saw your little pinwheel going. Usually, people just freeze, and they just kind of like that. But yeah, you were gone.
How long do you think we should have a freeze contest? See how long we can look.
No. Well,
That's right.
I was ready to wrap it up, so you came back to say goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody. Dan Jurgens. I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to keep my mouth shut, but it ain't gonna work. I'm gonna let everybody know the type of hack you truly are when it comes to art, because I like some of your stories besides that. Jurgens, I'm out for you. You can't keep me silent. I'm coming for you. I'm gonna have you sign everybody's book but your own, because that's the time again. Then I'm gonna pay you in pennies. I'm gonna pay you in pennies. Nothing else. Not nickels, not in dimes or quarters. Not dollar bills, not 5 pieces. I'm telling you in pennies, pal. Half pennies. I'm going to cut them in half so you have to glue them together. You can't get me off of here. You ain't shutting me up. Okay, you can shut me up.
All right. Well, thanks for coming back. Thanks, everybody, for joining us in the chat. It's a strong finish. That's what I like.
Keep it going, man.
Day of Rangian Vigilante, Warlord, C. Woodard. I don't know if Gord Vidal and maybe Unruly or Coach Vic might still be hanging around. But thanks for sticking around. Thanks for joining us. And remember, on J-Hood Creative, we remind you, keep your priorities straight. Faith, family, comic books, get the hand in there. See you next time, guys.